Hey guys, how's it going? It's Baggins here, and today we're going to be talking about the big juicy changes coming to New World with the July update. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there was another developer update video. I'll put a link to it in the description down below. It's about 17 minutes long, but I thought what we do in this video is break down, take some quick highlights from the important stuff they talked about, what it means for you as a player, and my opinions on the changes that we have coming up. So at the start of the video, we have Katie and Scott talking about the roadmap for New World. If you guys didn't see the roadmap, it's basically a sort of laid out plan of what we're going to see over the next few months in the game. In particular, they're talking about the summer update, which makes sense. That's the next big update that we have coming. They mentioned there's going to be the summer medley fair, though we don't really get any details. There's going to be the barnacles and black powder expedition coming, and that it's going to be quite different from the other dungeons in the game, but again, no specific details. And they also confirmed that the expedition or dungeon group finder will be coming with the July update as well. One good change that they are making is with the PTR. Rather than throw all of the content in the PTR at the same time, they're going to be doing little incremental changes. So we'll get to test out just the summer fair stuff, and then just the new dungeon, and then just the changes to perks and stuff. So I think this is a good way to do it, because previously in the past it's been a bit overwhelming. We'd have everything hit us at the same time, and it was pretty hard to leave feedback on. So happy that the change they're making there. Now, the real meat and potatoes of this video comes when it switches over to Phil, and he gives us some very exciting stuff to talk about. And the first thing is expedition keys or dungeon keys being removed. So you're no longer gonna need to deal with the pain that is making mutated expedition tuning orbs and making Genesis tuning orbs and buying them from the vendor and crafting them and stuff. They're just gonna be like, you can run them for free now. However, it does come with a caveat, and some people not gonna be too happy about this. And I will say, it's not in the game yet. We can leave feedback. Just before we raise our pitchforks, we're only going to be able to do 15 normal dungeons a day and 20 mutated expeditions a week. Personally, I think the second one, 20 mutated expeditions a week, is not good enough. I think it should be more than that. Honestly, just remove the cap altogether. I don't know why Amazon are so hesitant to let us just play the game. Like, if we want to just no-life the game, just let people play New World. But again, we can leave our feedback on this. We can let them, you know, they can make the changes. It's not set in stone. But yeah, expedition keys being removed, 15 normal dungeons a day, 20 expeditions, mutated expeditions a week. Also, on the topic of the current existing keys that you have, those are going to be converted into loot caches, so it'll be boss loot from the dungeon. So if you have a Genesis tuning orb, I guess you'll get loot from it from the Genesis final boss. I can't remember what she's called. No idea what's going to happen with mutated tuning orbs, because those don't really belong to any particular dungeon. But either way, it's probably worth stocking up on your mutated and normal tuning orbs, because they are going to turn into juicy loot boxes in a future update. Next thing they talk about in the video is perks. They've buffed over 150 perks in the game, and also weapon perks, when they are on your weapon specifically, will be much more powerful than when you're on your armor. So it might be worth thinking ahead of time. You know, for me, I'm going to be getting Fortifying Sacred Ground on my life staff now, and maybe I'll have a life staff with Mending Protection, because they're going to be more powerful on the weapon. If you have a Great Axe, maybe it's worth getting Insatiable Gravity Well on the Great Axe. You know, any relevant weapon perk, Fortifying Perforate for the spear, so on and so forth. You want to make sure that you actually have it on the weapon now. We don't really know exactly how strong it's going to be. We'll have to wait to see the PTR or the patch notes. But yeah, something worth bearing in mind. Also, some weapon perks have been reworked as well, so hopefully some of the weapon perks that are a bit kind of meh are going to be more exciting. In general, they say what they're doing is bringing the bad perks up rather than bringing the good perks down, so I'm definitely in favor of that. On the topic of perks, they're also making it so that earrings are less likely to get the crafting perks on them, so like Cooking Mastery, Arcanist Mastery. Instead, it's much more likely to be combat perks. Hopefully this also applies to jewelry as well, because it sucks getting logging XP or logging discipline or whatever, logging luck on your amulet instead of getting, you know, health or divine or refreshing, etc. You know, the perks that you actually want. They did say crafters don't need to worry though. There is going to be easier or more obvious ways on how you can obtain the crafting armor and crafting perks with this update. One particular perk that was called out was durable. Famously or infamously the worst perk in the game. They're now renaming it to Indestructible, and it means that if you have Indestructible on your armor, you won't have to pay any repair bill for it anymore. I still think it's an awful perk. You'd just rather have Refreshing or like literally anything else, but hey, at least it's getting a bit of a buff. Also, it will drop less frequently on items as well. With this change, all of the existing perks are going to be retroactively upgraded, so you're not going to need to go find new items. So that's why I'm suggesting now that you go out and find a weapon with the weapon perk on it that you want, because it will be like upgraded when the patch arrives, you won't have to farm out a new weapon with the perk on it. Moving on to drops and loot. This is a section that they focused on for a little bit. They've said that in the end game, loot is generally going to be more exciting. We're going to get to see more epics and more blues, which I'm not too keen about, but less greens. So generally, like, loot quality should be higher. There's also going to be more keen and perks that we actually want, and less beast ward, and again, less, you know, durable or indestructible now. Also, interestingly, items with 2 stats on them are going to be more powerful. So if you have an item with focus and intelligence, it's going to provide you more overall stats than if you had an item just with focus. So an individual item with focus on it will still provide plus 25 focus at 600, but a focus intelligence will provide more than 25, but the stats will still be split. So split stat items will provide more overall stats, but not the particular stat that you want. However, they did say that constitution plus whatever stat is not included in this, because I guess those are already pretty powerful. So rejoice if you're using any split stat build, if you're playing focus intelligence with the void gauntlet or something, or maybe you're playing dexterity strength with a bunch of builds that go with that. Those are going to be much stronger with receiving the extra stats. Another cool thing that they talk about is related to salvaging items. If you guys have run an expedition over and over and you keep getting a drop that you don't want, maybe you're getting Fury or Will of the Ancients, or, you know, just some crappy ring, but what you really want to get is the Lazarus Bow or something. They've said that you can now salvage those named items, those duplicate named items that you don't want, and you'll get a resource from them, which you can then, if you get enough of them, you can craft into the named item you want. I think this is really cool. This would have begun, like, so many of these features I would love to have, you know, back in 2021, but I'm glad to see they're finally arriving into the game now. Also, when you're salvaging items, sometimes you can get a perfect salvage, which will give you extra materials, extra resources that you can use to bump up your trade skill XP, or you could make gypsum casts with them, and a bunch of other cool stuff as well. I think this is another great feature. Salvaging, just in general, is going to be more worthwhile. So if you guys have got a bunch of, like, duplicate legendaries or named items, hold on to them. You want to salvage them after the patch arrives, because it's just generally going to provide you with more stuff. Finally, the last thing that Phil talks about is related to crafting. Logging and fishing are going to level up faster, and thank God, because they are so slow to go up. All refining will level up faster, so leatherworking, woodworking, the other ones that I can't think of right now, weaving, smelting, those are going to go up faster. All reagents are now just going to be the tier 5 reagents. So you guys remember there's like different tiers of sandpaper. It's just going to be the maximum tier sandpaper now, and they're going to provide some way to upgrade those. So when you're refining, you'll just make more stuff in general, because that's what the tier 5 reagents do. And as a result, that's going to help you with your crafting XP, because you'll have more materials to then level up your crafting. And on the topic of crafting, tier 4 and tier 5 recipes will give you more XP. So those last, that level like 150 to 200, or maybe even like 120 to 200, that should be faster because you'll get more XP. And furnishing in particular across the board will be leveling up faster as well. And that is the quick details or breakdown for the upcoming changes that we've got. I think there's some really, really cool stuff in here. Honestly, everything I like the sound of, other than the cap on the number of mutated expeditions we can do per week. I think it's a bit silly. Amazon seem to keep making this mistake of gatekeeping and limiting the amount of content we can do, and I just think, like, just let us play the game. If people want to play lots of New World, I don't think that should be a bad thing. We've had it with the arenas recently, where you can only do so many arenas and then you get a reduced amount of XP. Like, just, I don't understand, you know? If people want to play New World, just let them play New World. But maybe you guys have a different take. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. There's a lot of exciting changes here, but I just wanted to provide a quick sort of recap and update video. When the PTR is available and the patch notes is available, I'll put a link to that in the description down below, and we'll have another video up here on YouTube as well. So if you want to see that, make sure you click or tap that subscribe button and like this video if you enjoyed it. But yeah, that is the July patch notes / Stev update video in a quick nutshell. Very excited for these changes. Curious to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. And as always, I'll see you guys all in the next video.